So now it's live.
We are live, baby.
Shalom, we live, and
Shalom.
Shalom to you, brothers and sisters out there. Any of you that happen to join the stream, now that we're streaming live, all praises due to YAHAWAH, BaHaSHam, YAHAWASHI.
BaHaSHam, RAWCHAA.
Yep. So basically, what we're going into is the topic is are the untouchable people the real Jews? So we know that has been in the news for the past, you say, month. The situation with this guy West, and then the burning fire that was set ablaze when this guy Kyrie Irving put up that post of that documentary that's on Amazon that now has become the bestseller on Amazon now.
Yeah,
going after him, but Jeff Bezos don't got a part to play in this. They're not going after him for having it up on his platform. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they keep throwing around this word anti-Semitic. So the word anti-Semitic, we can start right there with what the word anti-Semitic means. And could you get the how are the things that Esau searched out?
Okay.
So they've been throwing around this word anti-Semitic for years and years and years. And then when you read the definition of it, anti-Semitic, this is according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it says relating to or characterized by anti-Semitism, feeling or showing hostility toward or discrimination against Jews as a cultural, racial, or ethnic group. That's what they say it is. Showing hostility toward or discrimination against the Jews. In other words, telling the truth about who these people really are. When you tell the truth about who these so-called Jews are, basically it's hostility, because the ADL was formed in 1913, and the ADL really was formed to shield Jewish criminals from being prosecuted. That's really what the ADL was about. And the ADL, when it was formed in 1913, at the same time in 1913, there was a second resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan as a result of the ADL being formed in 1913. The ADL being formed in 1913 sparked the second wave of the Ku Klux Klan at the same time. Because what happened was there was a guy down south in Georgia who basically raped a white woman, a so-called Jew. He was a part of some Jewish place called B'nai B'rith in Georgia. And he was a worker at this factory. And I think he was running the factory, or one of the top officials in the factory, paying people their salary. The girl was a 13-year-old white girl. She came to get her salary, and then nobody ever seen her after that. She went to the factory to go get her money from this dude, this Jewish guy. I forget his name. But then she was raped, and she was found dead. And then he basically tried to blame it on the black janitor. And when it was brought to court and all of that, they took his ass and they locked him in court. And I think he was going to get the death penalty, but then they changed it. And then the people in Georgia were outraged. They were like, the hell with this. They broke into the jail and dragged his ass out the jail, and they hung his ass.
Mm-hmm. I got the photograph right here.
Right. And you got to probably have the photograph. I forget his name. It might be Leo something like that. But they hung his ass. And off of that instance was the ADL was created off of that instance.
Leo Frank.
Yeah, Leo Frank was his name. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to where you got it on the screen right there. Let me see. Did it pop up?
It's on the screen, I think.
Yeah, there it goes.
There he goes right there, the J.
Yep.
August 17th, 1915. Half of the state's so-called Jews fled Georgia following the lynching, and the hanging photographs were turned into postcards for sale at local stores.
Yep. And off of that so-called Jew raping that girl, the second wave of the KKK was born off of that. There was they had died down since Reconstruction. When they came about, but then around that time, they had died down. But then there was a second insurgence of them, a rebirth of them at that very time when that situation popped up right there. And really, it was created to protect Jewish criminals. I mean, you can call it what it is. That's what the ADL was set up for. And then they come up with this anti-Semitic talk and all this and that. But going to now I want to jump into what does the word Semitic mean? So I'm gonna put that here on the screen. And it should pop up. There we go. And now it says here Semitic. When you go on Google, it says definitions from Oxford Languages. It says relating to or denoting a family of languages that includes Hebrew, Arabic, which Arabic is basically corrupted Hebrew, Aramaic, which goes back to Aram. That's another, like if you want to call it another offshoot of the Hebrew. And then you got, it says Aramaic and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician, which the Paleo Hebrew was called Phoenician. Some people call it Phoenician, the Paleo Hebrew. And Akkadian, constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family. Damn. So they're saying, and they're calling you anti-Semitic when you speak against the Jews, but it's telling you here that Semitic itself is dealing with the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family, relating to the peoples who speak Semitic languages, especially Hebrew and Arabic. So damn, it says that about Semitic being a main subgroup of Afro-Asiatic languages. So if that's the case, then who are these people running around calling themselves Jews then? Because they damn sure ain't got no damn Afro. You got that scripture?
Yeah, Khan. This is in Obadiah. This is Obadiah verse go straight to the point, verse 6.
Yeah, you can read it.
Yeah, we'll go up to 3. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so this is Obadiah verse 3. It says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord.
Right. This is talking about the Edomites as a whole. Though they exalt themselves as the eagle, what's the symbol of America? The symbol of America is what? The eagle. Yep. America has carries the symbol of the eagle. That's the national bird, the eagle. The great seal of the United States. Look on the back of the dollar bill. Flip a quarter around. What you see on there? The eagle. Look on the mailbox. What do you see? The eagle. So that's letting you know who America is. And that's also the same symbol that the Roman Empire had. If you go down and look at images of Petra in the land of Edom, you'll see the eagle all over Petra. Because that's who these people are. They are the ancient biblical Edomites. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. I got some images here if you want to bring them up of Petra showing the eagle.
Yeah, there you go. It's right there.
That's from Mount Petra.
Yep.
So they carried the eagle. That's part of their heritage, their legacy, is that the symbol of the eagle. You know, you look down here, they got the Roman pillars right here. So if you trace archaeology, you can figure out who they really are.
Right. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, who the Edomites are. It's right there.
That's the same eagle on the back of the quarter, right? The back of the quarter got the eagle as well.
That's right.
So the whole book of Obadiah, I mean, it's clearly describing Esau today, calling themselves a so-called white man. Going back in history, they were calling themselves the Greeks, you know. Then they were calling themselves the Romans, you know. Then they start calling themselves Europeans. Today they call themselves Caucasians. Okay, you know.
But
so let's go back to this. I'm gonna go back to the scripture until the
biblical Edomites. That's who they are.
Get back. So it says, the pride of thine heart had deceived thee. Back to verse 3. Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. So again, here it is. This is Mount Petra, and this is basically this whole city is carved out the cleft of the edges of the rocks. And then when you go into the major cities today, and any major city throughout the world that tries to mimic Esau, tries to mimic America, they have sky risers, these tall buildings that when you look down, if you go to New York, let's say you go to mid-Manhattan, and you look down, let's say you go down to 7th Ave, and you look down the stretch of the avenue, and you see them sky risers on either side of you, feel like you're in the mountains, and the buildings look like you're looking down a stretch of mountains. So this is just Esau. This isn't a spirit to be like this. All right. So it says, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks. And this is also why Esau, in their nature, they're not afraid of heights. They'll bungee jump off bridge and jump off bridges and stuff like that, because that's just in a spirit, that high habitation. It says, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars. Okay. And then that's going into more modern times, when they actually went up into the stars, went up into the heavens by way of the technology. We saw the space shuttles and the crafts, okay, which they didn't reach the moon. That's BS. They never landed on the moon, but they can go up to a certain point. All right. But when they so-called landed on the moon, they said that the eagle has landed. Okay. But when they launch their satellites, they are up there among the stars. All right. There's the Van Allen belt, they can't pass that, but you got the inner space and then you got the outer space. Right. So they're able to reach into the peak of the inner space up onto the Van Allen belt. And they have satellites up there. They got, what do you call them? The space stations. They got different things up there in the orbit. Okay. Among the stars. Okay. So it says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Okay. So I want to kind of go into the pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of rock, whose habitation is high. So the bishop, you were mentioning the ADL that they have, right? Yeah. So they have the ADL, which is something they invented, right? Anti-Defamation League. Right. They have a bunch of fact checkers now. They got fact checkers. They got Snopes. And then they also implement just different terms that they invent out of thin air, like conspiracy theorists, anti-Semitism. Now, when you look up anti-Semitism into the history, I believe it goes back to the 1800s. And that was a term that was invented, but I believe it was a Austrian Jew or a so-called Jew from Germany. I got to look into the information again. But these are things that were created to help Esau keep that image that he's trying to uphold, which is that image of being white, clean. And he'll introduce these different terms and these different websites and these different leagues like the ADL to try to uphold that image, right? So that if anybody says anything, which is bringing out the truth, right, that they have these different terms that they invent or these different websites where, that denounce these truths so that they can maintain their image, right? Right. So it says, say that again, Bishop.
Maintain the white lie.
Maintain the white lie. Yep. Though thou exalt thyself as an eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If great gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? So in other words, the Most High is comparing Esau to a thief, but the most heinous thief that you could find, and you could go to John 10:10, right? Because anywhere that Esau goes, he robs, he kills, he steals, and he murders. This is why when you go into the history, right? You go into the history. Now we went into the history about the wild man, right? Not too long ago, a couple months ago, where everywhere they went, they were basically kicked out, you know, and chased out into the woods because, and that's going to Esau. That's Esau's his heritage, going into the caveman, right? They call them the wild man if you Google that. And they would rape, rob, steal things. So they were chased out everywhere they went.
Right.
Then you go to Job, the 30th chapter, the same accounts are there, right? Going into Esau, how everywhere he went, he was chased out because he's a thief and he's a murderer. So, but the Lord said that if a thief came and robbed you, would they not leave? Usually a thief grabs as much as they can and they're out. They bounce. But Esau, that's not enough for him. He's gonna take until there's nothing to take anymore. Esau's went as far as he'll take people's identity. He took our identity. And then now when you bring it out to truth, he's trying to flip it and say that we're taking their identity. Okay?
Right. That's what they're doing. They're trying to say that we took their identity, and that's a damn lie.
Mm-hmm.
They stole our identity.
Okay.
And there's receipts. There's receipts that's left all over the place showing who they really are.
Yeah. Archaeology, books. I mean, they autobiographies, they journal stuff. So there's all types of receipts out there. But this is why they're coming out with different things to try to hide them, controlling the internet. There's a law that they're trying to pass. I believe it might be called an anti-woke law. But there's a law they're trying to pass to where any school or institutional system, they cannot teach history that goes into, the history of Jake, that goes into slavery, that goes into anything that has to deal with racism. They're passing this law to where all that's completely shut off because they want to, they're rebirthing America again, is NWO. So with the NWO and Bishop, you brought this out yesterday on a stream on a camp that what is the sixth law and the protocol of the elders of Zion. I don't know if you got the book with you.
As a matter of fact, I have it right here. I was looking for it.
Okay.
And I happened to find it, and I got it right here. Right here. And let me just switch over to blow this up so we can see it. Right. This is you won't be able to get this in print anywhere because they basically try to scrub this out of. We used to in the 90s on 125th Street in New York, you were able to buy these at any time. I forgot, I might have paid $15 or $20 for this. And I had this, tucked away, since the moving situation. I was able to find it. I thought I lost it, but I found it. And what it goes in the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, protocol 16, number 4. This is what it says in protocol number 16. I'm gonna show it right here. You see there, protocol number 16 and protocol number 16.4. Protocol number 16.4 says this at the heading. It says, we shall change history. If you can see it right there on the screen, you can see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
It says right there. So protocol number 16.4, it says classicism as also any form of study of ancient history in which there are more bad than good examples, we shall replace with the study of the program of the future. So that's what they're doing. They want to get rid of the study of ancient history and they want to replace it with the study of the future. And that's what they're doing. That's why they want to remove out of the schools. They want to remove the history out of the schools, because going into the history, eventually you come into the origins of who they are. So they want to get further and further away from the actual history, and they want to put you into something else. They want to get Jake away from learning about who they really are. And it says, we shall replace with the study of the program of the future. We shall erase from the memory of men all the facts of previous centuries, which are undesirable to us, and leave only those which depict all the errors of the government of the Goyim, the study of practical life, of the obligations of order, of the relations of people one to another, of avoiding bad and selfish examples which spread the infection of evil, and similar questions of an educative nature will stand in the forefront of the teaching program, which will be drawn up on a separate plan for each calling or state of life, in no wise generalizing the teaching. This treatment of the question has special importance. So their whole thing is to try to erase that from history so you don't even think about it, so you don't even pay no attention to it. They want to get you away because basically what they're doing is they're running from judgment, because they know that there's a time coming when they're going to have to pay for the wickedness that they've committed. So their whole thing is to basically erase it from history. Even amongst Gad has a term called erasing the ancestors. And they did that to Gad. When they came up with the BIA, they came up the Bureau of Indian Affairs, where natives were supposed to get land allotments, money, the education paid for by the federal government. When the crackers heard that that was happening, they went in and paid the BIA agents $5. We're talking about in the 1880s. $5 back then was a lot of money back at that time. That's where you get the term $5 Indian. So then you get these crackers who got put on the Dawes rolls because of the Dawes Commission. They got put on the Dawes rolls, and then actual Indians couldn't get on the Dawes rolls. Then they came up with something called Indian blood quantum, which basically erased the ancestors. Then they would go into the town halls of different cities everywhere, and they would change the birth certificates of Native Americans from saying Native American to saying Negro. So now you come generations later to come and get on a tribe's Dawes roll, and you can't get on because they say, oh, you're a Negro. Your grandfather, great-grandfather's a Negro, so you can't get on the Dawes rolls of the tribe. But yet all these goddamn crackers got on the Dawes rolls, and now 120 some odd years later, these crackers are talking about they were born on the res. Yeah, because you paid $5 to get put on the Dawes rolls, and you actually got the land allotments, you got the education paid for, and all that other things the government promised. You crackers got it, and the actual natives really didn't get it, by and large. So this man is the devil. They've been working their deviltry in every aspect, in every way, shape, and form possible. But now, dealing with these so-called Jews, who are these people really are? Because going back to when we was reading about Semitic and who the Semitic people are, now I got a video here that I want to play from this a rabbi named Rabbi Harry Rosenberg, and this is what Rabbi Harry Rosenberg goes on to say. I'm gonna add it right there, and I guess I could add it to the stream right now through here.
Rosenberg. Yeah,
his name is Rabbi Harry Rosenberg. Now check this out. What he says, this was actually put up about 5 years ago, and I'm gonna play what he says.
Interesting place that you're finding descendants of the Israelites, but may not necessarily be from the 10 tribes, but will also play a role, and shouldn't be overlooked. It's a very serious scenario. This is in Africa. Africa has perhaps hundreds of millions of people with this identity right now of being from the people of Israel. Does that mean they were from the 10 tribes? Likely not. We were taught by the historians and within our own traditions that when the Romans conquered Judea a few hundred years after the tribes of Israel went into exile, perhaps millions of Judeans were sold into slavery, into Africa, into Rome, deep into Africa. And if you look now, you're seeing people who are most likely.
Now you heard what he said? When Rome came down in 70 AD on Judea, he said millions of Jews were sold into Africa. He said deep into Africa in different places, which that correlates what Rudolph R. Windsor was talking about here in Babylon to Timbuktu. Now, this is a so-called Jew that's actually admitting to that, right? So just to refresh, page 84 here in Babylon, the Timbuktu. It says, page 84. It says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem in 70 AD. General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. This is what Rudolph R. Windsor, the statement that he makes here in the book Babylon and Timbuktu, page 84. Now we just hear this Rabbi Harry Rosenberg speaking about that.
Most likely the descendants of those slaves who kept true. If you look now, you're seeing people.
Hold up. Let me bring him back a little bit right there.
Perhaps millions of Judeans were sold into slavery, into Africa, into Rome, deep into Africa. And if you look now, you're seeing people who are most likely the descendants of those slaves who kept true. I like to bring up a few specific examples because they're going to be game changers. One of them wrote letters to Israel when it became a state. And they said, we're Israelites out in Africa. You know, everyone laughed at them and they said, African Israelites, these people are just trying to jump on the first world country bandwagon. They're living in a third world country. They got nothing. We're coming to Israel. We got innovation, technology. So they're trying to get on this train because there's such a thing called the right of return. All descendants of the Jewish people from around the world were able to move to Israel. So they said, we are also. And everyone kind of laughed at them, like I said. And a few people took it serious and went out there and started studying them, learned about their culture. And a professor from Duke University went out there and did DNA testing on them. And he showed not only do they share Semitic genes from people who were in Yemen, back to the Middle East, these gentlemen, a large percent of them, have the Y chromosome to be Kohanim, to be priests. Now, if anyone who doesn't know, a priest is a specific family clan of the nation of Israel who come from Aaron, the brother of Moses, who was the first priest. And anyone descended from Aaron has the status title priest. And we found that these men in this village in South Africa called Lemba, L-E-M-B-A, carry this genetic marker to let us know that they share the same as from the Sephardic and the Ashkenaz and the population of the people in Israel today. They share the same exact DNA marker. That's mind-blowing. So everyone kind of got humbled a little bit who laughed at them and said, now what? Now what do we do about this? This could have tremendous implications. Another area in Africa, you have something big happen.
Now, one thing I want to say about, we know that DNA testing is straight up bullshit. But now one thing we also have to remember too is that Jacob and Esau were brothers. They came from the same father and the same mother. So don't you think there would be certain attributes even in your DNA that might be the same when you come from the same father and the same mother? So him speaking about a Y chromosome or something like that, that could be a possibility because Esau is our evil twin brother. But that don't make him an Israelite because we're closer related to the Edomites than Jake thinks that they're related to the Africans. But we're in closer relation to the Edomites than the so-called Africans. Even though we fled into Africa as refugees, we're still closer in relation to the Edomites than to the Hamites.
Okay. Which they admit that as well.
Right. Yeah. Look at it. Yeah. So I'm gonna just play a little bit more. It's only like about maybe another minute and something longer. So I'm gonna just play like another little bit more of it.
Happening is in Nigeria. You have the Igbo people, or Igbo, pronounced either way. There's 40 million of them. Also Christians, like I spoke about before, how that could happen to the children of Israel very easily. But also a lot of them are now coming out and converting back or adopting the rules of the Torah without all the paganism that they've been practicing for hundreds of years. There's been books written about it from scholars in Nigeria, from scholars from the Jewish people.
And now the Igbo, right? Which that's another way of saying Eber. Now the northern part of Africa is known as the Iberian Peninsula, which that goes back to Jake, because when we fled into Africa, first of all, there was already Israelites in Africa. The Alexandrian Jews were already there in Alexandria, Egypt, which that's in North Africa, and that's the closest part of Africa that's next to the land of Canaan, or if you want to say the land of Israel, right? If you go south of the land of Judah, south of the land of Edom, and then you go in a western direction, a southwestern direction, you'll end up in what? Egypt, which is what? North Africa, part of North Africa. And then from Egypt along the Mediterranean, you stretch across all the way west to Morocco, which is at the other end, which is at the very other end, but still on the northern tip of Africa. We were all across the northern part of Africa and the interiors. Jake was all across there. So the term Igbo, which goes back to Eber, because that was known as the Iberian Peninsula. So Igbo goes back to Eber, which means what? Hebrew. Ibar, which means past. Ha-Ibar, the past. You got anything, Bishop Ayathan?
Yeah. Can you pull my screen out real quick?
Yeah.
This is basically what this guy Rosenberg is going into, and which he probably got from that same book from Babylon and Timbuktu. But it describes how the Jews in the Roman Jewish wars, they fled out of Rome and predominantly found themselves in the western part of Africa, right?
Yep.
So Esau has this map they call it the Negro land map, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because basically it's a map of the western portion of Africa where Esau went to grab up Jake, the real Jews, right? To put them into slavery, and they called it Negro land because that's where they went to grab up the Negroes, right?
Yeah, it was also known as the Kingdom of YAHAWAH, which is another way of saying Judah. YAHAWAH is another way of saying YAHAWAH, right? The Kingdom of YAHAWAH, or also known as the Republic of Benin, which is what that movie, the Woman King, was based off of. It was based off of the Republic of Benin, which was the Kingdom of YAHAWAH. That's what that movie was loosely based off of. But the movie just basically went totally left from what really actually had happened there in the Republic of Benin, which that was Jake selling Jake. It was Jake selling Jake.
Yep. So this is Negro land. Now this is Western Africa. Now if you zoom in a little bit, you'll see right here it says Kingdom of Judah or Wahida, Slave Coast, Judah, right there. So the Kingdom of Judah, right? Mm-hmm. So if they went to Western Africa to grab up Jake for that triangular slave trade, and they were living in a part of the land called the Kingdom of Judah, then that shows you who are the real Jews, right? And it gives validity to those accounts that we read in Babylon and Timbuktu, right? Because like we said, they leave their own receipts, and you just got to go and dig. When you read Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That's exactly what it is. You know, our people are destroyed because they don't go and research, and you could put this in front of their face, and they're still not gonna go look into it. You know,
right? They're not. That's why it says in Deuteronomy 32:7. It says, "Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee." So we're supposed to know about our past. We're supposed to know about the past. But again, a lot of these niggas don't like to read. They don't like to read. They don't like to do no research. Unless they go to jail and their freedom get taken from them, then they have this Islamic epiphany and they want to try to read every book there in the goddamn institution. Only time a nigga want to read is when he become institutionalized.
Yeah.
and his freedom get taken from him. That's when a nigga want to read, and then he's reading the wrong shit on top of that.
So here's Timbuktu up here. Timbuktu's up here. Yeah,
Yep.
so they fled into this whole area, you know, this whole area right here. They fled into the western part of Africa. The Gold Coast, you know, Benin is down here. New Guinea is over here. Sierra Leone, you know, this was all Jake. And when they say Kingdom of Judah, that's really Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, you know, because remember they referred to all, and they lumped them all as Jews, but it was really mainly those three tribes up in here, you know, that fled. That was that on this on the map.
Yeah. So I'm just going to read one more scripture. This is Job 8:8. It says, "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers." That's what we're supposed to read it again. Go ahead, brother. Say what you want to say.
That's why when you go in these schools, they don't teach you anything before slavery.
Nope.
You know, they don't teach you your history, because if you found out your history, you would find out who you are, you find out who your real enemy is, and you would know that America we brought here to serve captivity, right? And that we really belong in the land of Israel. So those people over there in the land of Israel, they don't belong there, and those are not the real Israelites. But because they hid the search of our fathers from us, and one way they did that was by breaking up the home, breaking up the family home, right? Because usually when the script apocrypha goes into it, that one of the things that grieve the enemy is and I'm not going to quote it.
That grieves the enemy when you teach your son.
When you teach your son. So when you're at home and your father's around and you're growing around your father, he puts you on. He goes into the history. He puts you on to what happened to your ancestors and all that. So when you break up the family structure, Jake doesn't get any of that, you know. So, and this is moving on to why they want to block. We were speaking about earlier in the show. They want to pass the laws to where you can't teach anything that's related to the history of Jake, you know, how they got here, how did we get here, what happened in the past, slavery and all that. They want to erase all of that, you know, because the search of thy fathers, it brings you back to your remembrance. You know, there's a saying that we used to hear all the time. I don't know if they still use it anymore, but they used to say, if you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going. So without the history, or, you know, who were your forefathers, which is all the prophets and important men in the scriptures, the righteous men, those are our forefathers, you know. So you go back to all the kings, you know, like King David. You go back to Moses. You go back to Joseph. You go back to all the ancient prophets. We're reading Obadiah earlier, Jude, all that. Those are all our forefathers. Okay, so when you learn all that, man, it puts you in a different mindset, in a royal mentality, which Jake doesn't have right now. That's why they're getting stepped all over on.
No. So I'm gonna read it again. Job 8:8. "For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon the earth are a shadow." So we're supposed to know about our forefathers. We're supposed to know about our history. Like they say, if you don't know your history, you don't know where you're going.
Yep.
You don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. Because based on our history, where are we going? We have an inheritance, which is what? The kingdom of heaven. Where are we going?
Back to the land of Israel. Yep.
Back to the land of Israel.
Yeah. If Jake did us prepare to search of the fathers, they will know exactly where the small hats came from. Okay. Because all that is in the Bible. We know where the small hats came from. They go back to Esau in the Bible. Sure. And the scholars of the small hats, they know that. They know exactly where they come from. I mean, you go on Amazon right now, and they got books from Edom to Rome. I mean, there's so many books that they got out there knowing where they come from. They know they descend from the Khazar Empire, you know. But they got these different laws that they put into place now to where if you speak any of that, they're going to call you, you know, the buzzword. You're an anti-Semite, right?
That's right. That's what they're going to call you. They're going to label you anti-Semitic. When you bring out the truth about who they are, first thing they're going to do is they're going to call you anti-Semitic.
Even if you're quoting their own sources.
Yep. They're
right?
still going to call you anti-Semitic.
So I'll go back to Obadiah. I don't know if we finished that. There's one more verse. I'm going to read verse 5 and then 6. It says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
Right. How are the hidden things that Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? Really, from hell, the whistleblowers. You got the whistleblowers among Esau, and I'm going to read some information from quite a few of them. From a few in particular, whistleblowers among Esau. And I'm going back. I'm going to go back to this video right here. I'm going to go right back to him because he's bringing the information out that has been denied. He even said it, that they laughed at it. So it's only maybe another minute, and then we're gonna go on. We're gonna keep going.
And where it gets interesting is, in America, there was a slave trade, and a lot of the slaves, a very high percentage of them, came from Western Nigerian ports. And in America today, you see a very large movement of African Americans who say that they're the real chosen people, that they're the children of Israel, they're the Judeans. You know, so what are they just trying to create an identity for themselves because they were slaves, or is there really something here? And the answer is most likely there is something there. And most likely, maybe that they were the original Israelites, and maybe that the Jewish people today who are white, Caucasian people came in a little bit later on. We know that some of the greatest sages of the transmission of the Torah were converts from Rome. You have a man named Onkelos who wrote a commentary on the Torah, unprecedented, that we still learn today. He was a convert. Some of the largest pillars on the transmission today were Roman converts. So here we are, we're Caucasian Jewish people. And now you have people in Africa saying that they're the real people of Israel. It can't be ruled out at all. We know they were sold into slavery. We know now that they're fulfilling prophecies by saying, we're coming back.
So, you know, that was just a little something right there. That was a actual so-called Jew. Actually, what was he doing? He was actually admitting. He was actually straight up admitting. Now, if that doesn't bake the noodle of the I'm trying to stop this from
Why didn't they go after his ass though?
Right, yeah. Why they ain't say he was anti-Semitic? You know, why they ain't go after him and say he's anti-Semitic? But now there's something else that I want to go into, because among the so-called Jew, they have let me get this nigga's face off the thing. But among the so-called Jew, they have something called it's called the Midrash. Now you hear of the Talmud, you hear of what's known as the Mishnah, and there's something called the Midrash. They call it the Midrash. Now in the Midrash, what is the Midrash? The Midrash is an ancient commentary on part of the Hebrew scriptures attached to biblical texts. The earliest Midrashim, come from the 2nd century AD, although much of their content is older. Now, one of the more, if you go into Google, like I did here, popular Midrash translation. Now here it says Midrash Safaria. So when I click on this, I'm just going to let it, wait for it to pop up. It says here Midrash. And here they have they show a bunch of, I could blow it up a little bit. There's a bunch of Midrash translations here, right? From different rabbis. Now, one of the more popular Midrash translations is by a man named Perky de Rabbi Eleazar, which this goes back to about 833 AD, which is the Middle Ages. And this particular version, or the Midrash, is basically a medieval interpretation of the Torah and Tanakh. Now, Perky de Rabbi Eleazar, which he's one of the more popular midrashes that are read throughout the so-called Jewish community. I think when you go in here to his Perky, the Rabbi Eleazar, and I think it's here. I think it's chapter 24. Yeah, dealing with Nimrod and the Tower of Babel, which basically this is like explaining Genesis, the 10th chapter, which is the Table of Nations, right? So he goes on to saying here, and I'm gonna also make a disclaimer here. Now, there's a group of Israelites out there that call themselves I think they call themselves Black to Africa or something like this. They would actually did a show where they was bringing this out, so I'm gonna give them credit on that. But a lot of guys go off when they go into reading this. Yeah, it's good information in here, but then now I understand why a lot of guys be saying that the so-called white man is Japhet, and you'll see later on as I read through it. So now we're gonna go over here. It says Nimrod and the Tower of Babel. I hope that y'all can see it on the screen a little bit clearer. I'm gonna try to blow it up.
You can see it.
See it clear? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could do this like this. It's better.
Yeah, I did. I blew it up. Yeah, I did. I blew it up. Oh, you moved it to. So it says Nimrod in the Tower of Babel. It says Noah brought his sons and his grandsons and blessed them with their several settlements, and he gave them as an inheritance all the earth. He especially blessed Shem and his sons, making them dark but comely. Wait a minute. Get Song of Solomon 1 and 5, Bishop Ayathon. You see what they're saying here in the Midrash? The Midrash?
Hold on.
You see that? I'm going to read it again. It says, Noah brought his sons, and get Deuteronomy, Jeremiah 14 and 2. I think it's Jeremiah 8:21, Job 30:30. You got Song of Solomon 1 and 5, Genesis 2 and 7. It says Noah brought his sons and his grandsons, and he blessed them with their several settlements, and he gave them as an inheritance all the earth. He especially blessed Shem and his sons, making them dark but comely, and he gave them the habitable earth.
Mm-hmm.
Now it says he blessed Ham and his sons, making them dark like the raven, and he gave them as an inheritance the coast of the sea.
Mm.
Now check this out. It says he blessed Japheth and his sons, making them entirely white, which is a fucking lie.
Yeah, that's BS.
Japhites are dark skinned, which we're going to go into that. But now this is what these so-called Jews read when they go to Hebrew school. And this is what the average Negro, West Indian, Puerto Rican, Haitian, Dominican is not privy to. So now let's get the Zondervan, and then we're going to hit them other scriptures, Okay. Let's get the Zondervan. Let's read the Zondervan, and then I'm going to read the Zondervan over here in the NIV, and then I'm going to read the Young's Bible Dictionary, and we're going to hit them scriptures. And then we're going to go back to this and talk about it some more.
All right, I'm going to let you know when you got it so you can switch over to...
Because you said you got it, so you could just...
I got it now.
Okay, so I'm going to just put it up on the screen. So we're going to read something from the Zondervan Bible Dictionary.
Yeah, so this is...
Go ahead, you do it. Go ahead.
Current slide. So this is a Zondervan's Bible Dictionary. There's different versions. So this is from the first version, which is what, 1867?
1967.
1967, right? So when you look up Ham, right, this is what it says. Ham, perhaps hot, Ham comes from the Hebrew chum, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races.
Progenitor means father. He became the father of the dark races. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Not the Negroes.
Wait a minute. The Bible Dictionary says he became the progenitor, father of the dark races, not the Negroes. Go ahead.
But the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites.
Look at that. The Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Now, I'm going to go over to here now. Now I'm going to go to
you got me on full blast.
Yeah. And this right here, in this particular Bible dictionary right here,
I
which
think
is
you switched off.
Oh, it switched me off. All right.
Yeah. Like this. The third one. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Now over here, I have another Bible dictionary. This is called the NIV, New International Version, Compact Bible Dictionary, which is by the same company, J.D. Douglas, which is the same company that does the Zondervan. Now it says here, I'm going to look up ham in here. And it says ham. The youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the blacks. Read it again. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the blacks. You're talking about who? The American blacks. The American black people in America are not the same as those continental Hamites or the continental Africans. Now they're telling you here in the NIV version, this is of the Zondervan, same company. They said Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the blacks, but the Egyptians, the Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. Talking about who? The American blacks.
Mm-hmm.
So we read over here, and and I got some more, but I'm gonna go back over here to I'm gonna put this back up on the screen that we were reading in the Midrash. Right? So over here in the Midrash, when it says Noah brought his sons and his grandsons, and he blessed them with their several settlements, and he gave them as an inheritance all the earth. He especially blessed Shem and his sons, making them dark but comely. And he gave them the habitable earth. He blessed Ham and his sons, making them dark like the raven. And he gave them an inheritance of the seacoast. Now, wait a minute. The Bible dictionary we just read from 2 different Bible dictionaries is telling you that Ham was the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. And the other Bible dictionary says not the blacks, meaning the American blacks. So what is the problem? What is the problem with you people out there, or with you Jakes out there? Like the old saying goes, if you want to hide something from a Negro, put it in a book. Now, I'm going to go into another Bible dictionary here called the Young's Bible Dictionary, right? This is the Young's Bible Dictionary, Tyndale Desktop Reference Editions. It says, so let me look up ham in here. And let's see what it says in here for ham. Here in the Young's Bible Dictionary. Bear with me one moment. I'll have it. Here we go. I got it. Right here, ham. I even tell you the page that it's on. It's on page 255 in the Young's. It says Ham, a son of Noah and father of Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. It says, see further on each of these 4. While they may have all been dark-skinned, ain't no may, all right?
It was.
It's all dark-skinned. It says, while they may have all been dark-skinned, they were not the forefathers of the Negroid races.
Ooh, damn.
You want me to read it again, brother?
Hell yeah.
Want me to read that again? So wait a minute. So in these Bible dictionaries, who were the scholars that put these together? Most of them are Jewish scholars.
All Jews, yeah.
And what do they read from? This is what they read from the Midrash. They read
They
the Risk.
They wrote them books for to educate each other. You know, they wrote those for each other. They know Jake ain't gonna look that shit up. You know,
no. So I'm gonna read it again. This is in the Young's Bible Dictionary. Ham, a son of Noah and father of Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. See further on each of these four. While they may have all been dark-skinned, they were not the forefathers of the Negroid races, but rather of the peoples associated with Egypt in the north of the continent of Africa. The Egyptians also thought of Canaan as one of their provinces, even into very late times. So wait a minute. So what Perke did Rabbi Eleazar, which this goes back to 833 AD, which is the Middle Ages. This is what he says here in the Mishnah, and this is one of the popular translations of the Mishnah among the so-called Jewish community. This is one of their popular translations here, which is basically, it's a commentary or better yet, commentary on the Torah and the Tanakh. And this is what they say in here. Now you got Negroes who might read this and become privy to this and then make the mistake of believing when they say that Japhet is white. Japhet is not white, because when you look into the Minoans, let's pull up some pictures of the ancient Minoans. That's who Japhet is. The ancient Minoans, when you pull up some pictures of the ancient Minoans, let me see. Let me go here into Google and
I got some right here.
Okay, if you got some, just put them up there on the screen. And you go into the ancient Minoans. That's why you got a lot of different groups out there who call themselves Israelites. They'll say, "Oh, the white man is Japhet. The white man is not Esau. They're Japhet." That's a goddamn lie. Those are the ancient Minoans right there.
Yep.
That's the seed of Japhet right there. They're dark skinned. They're not Israelites and they're not Hamites. These are Japhites right here. The ancient Minoans. And the people who are descendants of them is who? Samoans. The Samoans, the Hawaiians. That's who they descend from. Those are the descendants. Those people out there in the Pacific, in the South Pacific, that's who they descend from. Because when you look at the land of the land we know as Gog and Magog, the land of Russia and all that, that's a big land. But if you keep going east and you go east of Russia, what do you eventually run into? The Pacific Ocean. And if you're in Russia or over in China, you got to come across the Pacific to come to what? The west coast of America. And when you're coming across the Pacific, what islands are there? The Hawaiian Islands, them different islands, Waikiki, Honolulu, all of that. That's all there in the Pacific. That's on the west coast. That would be on the west coast to us. But that would be the east coast of Russia and of China. That's the east coast to them. That's the west coast to us, but that's the east coast to them.
Okay.
The Pacific.
Yeah, because Noah was dark skinned, so all his sons were dark skinned as well. Ham, Shem, and Japheth.
That's right. So that goes to show you right there. Well, so who are these people who are running around calling themselves Jews, and then they're telling you that you're anti-Semitic when you go into the fact and when you bring out the fact that we are the children of Israel. We're the people who came across in the transatlantic slave trade. We're the people who in 70 AD, our homeland was taken and destroyed by the Romans, and we were driven into West Africa, fleeing from the Romans. But Jake went into Africa, but Jake also went north. They went eastward too. Jake fled in all directions. But a big number of us went into Africa. And that was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, by the way, because the other 10 tribes was already on this side of the world over here in the Americas at that time. You got anything to add? Because I got some more to touch on too.
Okay. I mean, I could bring out some more. We called out a few color scriptures, so
yeah, let's bring those out.
Yep. Because this one you have read about what was that book you read where it mentioned that Shem was made black and comely?
Yeah, that was in the Midrash.
The Zonavins, yeah. So this is Song of Solomon 1:5. It says, "I am black but comely," which comely means,
yeah. Go ahead.
Which means it means beautiful.
Yeah,
comely.
that's Quaker English, which means beautiful.
Yep.
I'm black and I'm beautiful.
Oh,
So
ye daughters of Jerusalem.
Comely. Yep.
Come as a tense of Kadar.
Kadar means dark skin.
Dark. Yep.
Kedar was one of the sons of Ishmael.
Right?
And his son, he had a son named that he had a son who was so dark, he named him Dark Skin as the tense of Kedar. Go ahead.
As the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
There you go.
Boom. I mean, so many. Jeremiah 14:2.
Yep.
You know, we all know this one. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black, which the word Kedar is in the Hebrews there as well. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is going up. Right? You got Job 30. Right? Job 30 and 30, which says what? My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat.
Job 30 and 30. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. Job was describing the hell he was catching to like his bones being burned with fire. But he was talking about the hell he was catching. He said, my skin is black upon me, but my bones are burned with heat. We have a saying when you when somebody pisses you off, you say, oh man, that person burnt me up so bad.
Well, I'm heated.
I'm heated.
You know, and you know, Revelation, you got a description of YAHAWASHI there. You know, as if he burned in a furnace, his skin as if it burned in a furnace.
That's right.
And you go all the way back to Genesis, where the Adamites or the creation was made from the dust of the ground, which is
Genesis
dark.
7. Yeah, we can read that. Let's read that. Genesis 2 and 7.
All right.
If you got it, or if I get it.
I got it. This is Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. It says, and the Lord power formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So the dust of the ground.
The dust of the ground is what? Different shades of brown, which lines up with Jeremiah 14 and 2 when he said, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is going up. The word there in the Hebrew, when it says black unto the ground, is in the so-called Jew, the way they pronounce it is it'll say Quadaru la'aditz, which means dark are they unto the earth, or Quadarwa la'arataza, dark unto the earth. So in Genesis 2 and 7, he formed man of the dust of the ground. The ground is what? Different shades of brown.
Yeah, very dark.
I got another one for you here. This is Jeremiah 8 and 21. For the hurt of the daughter of my people, I am hurt. I am black. Astonishment have taken hold of me.
Boom. There it goes again.
Yep.
So there's no around it, man. No way around it, man. All you gotta do is read.
Let me see if we can get one more. And then right here, we're gonna go to I think it's this one right here. I think we did speak about it, but I'm gonna read it. Job 30 and 30. My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burnt with heat. Yeah, we read that one.
Yeah, I mean that's come on, man. That's obvious.
Yeah, so basically, and we've been going for about an hour. So what we can do is a part 2, a follow up to this, because I got more information. So because you're talking, it's gonna go into 2 hours or more. So we basically a little over an hour, and it's just started getting juicy.
We haven't really scratched the surface.
Because I got some more to touch on. So the next time around, we'll hit that other information that I got sitting here on the back end lined up. We'll do another one. We'll come back and do like a part 2. So let's end it off with Revelations 2:9. Get Revelations 2:9, and I'm gonna grab another scripture, and we'll end it off there.
All right, Con. All right, this is Revelation chapter 2. I'll put up on the screen. Hold on. Revelation chapter 2 and verse 9 right here says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
Yeah, but are the synagogue of Satan. The word synagogue means they are the chief house of Satan. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, which are who? These people running around, the small hats, the untouchable people, talking about that they're the people of the Lord, and they are not, but they are the synagogue of Satan.
But are the synagogue of Satan? The chief house is saying, you know, because out of Edom, you got different, what do you call them? Different tribes, right?
Yep.
Out of Edom, out of Amalek is the worst. The chief of the elite Satanists out of all of them, you know, is Amalek, and they were the first ones to come against us when we came out of Egypt. They were the first ones to come against us, which was specifically Amalek, and the Most High gave a specific curse. What was that? Numbers 30? No, 20. Let me find it. And then I got one more thing I want to bring out, but let me hold on to get that. Some numbers.
One where we have a I forget how it's worded. Against Amalek, the Lord has a.
Let me find it. Somebody in the chat know what we're talking about. I know it's in Numbers, so give me a second. Oh, this is Numbers 24. Numbers 24 and start at 19. And it says, out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city. Verse 20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up this parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. And that's the future of Amalek.
Yep.
Is that they're going to perish forever, as well as the whole house of Esau is going to perish forever in the kingdom of heaven after they build up the kingdom, you know. Bishop, I got one more point, if that's cool.
Go right ahead.
All right, so what was that song that Jake would sing in slavery all the time?
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth.
Swing low, sweet chariot, right? So it says, swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for me to carry me home. A band of angels coming after me, coming forth to carry me home. Now, this is what Jake sang during slavery. So my question is, if we come from Africa, why were we asking the Lord, why we're saying I looked over the River Jordan?
Yeah. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home. The chariot is what delivered us out of ancient Egypt. The chariot of Israel delivered us. We were delivered out of ancient Egypt. The chariot followed us. It was a pillar of fire. It was a cloud by day, and it was a pillar of fire by night.
Okay. But the River Jordan, that's found over there, land of Israel.
Yeah.
So that shows you right there the slaves where they originated from. I mean, just that simple example right there. But that's what I got. What I got, Taz.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna close it out with this scripture, 2 Ezra 6 and 27 and 28. It says, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared." Period. The truth, which hath been so long without fruit, shall be declared, and that's what's happening right now. The heavens is declaring the word of Yahawah BaHaSHam Yahawashi. The veil that has been cast over all nations, that veil has been pulled off. So now what's happening is this man is being revealed. And now what's going to happen is he got to come down with great wrath, like it says in Revelations 12, because his time is short. He's being revealed. So now he got to come swinging now. So that's the point that we're at now. So that's pretty much what we wanted to cover on this part right here, but we got more to come for the next go round, because we got more information, and it's gonna take us for like another hour and change.
So this is part one.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah, everybody's flooded in right now.
yeah, man. Yeah, people are jumping, coming up in there. But and then as another thing too, for those of you that are in the chat, basically, this is gonna be up on the site for a day or so, and then it's gonna be taken off and put on Odyssey, because these devils is messing with our stuff. So anytime you go into the talking about these small hats and revealing who they really are, they just want to basically take your whole thing away. So it's gonna sit up for about a day or whatever. And what I'm gonna do is on YouTube, in the if you go to the description box, I'm gonna put the link in there for the Odyssey account where the video is actually gonna be, so you can come back and view it from time to time when you want. So I'm gonna just let it sit up here. What's that?
No, that's good. It shows that shows you they're on the defense.
Yep.
They're doing that. They're on the defense because their lie, their armor, which is their lies, their deceit is wearing off. Because 10 years ago, they didn't have to put no algorithm up on YouTube, and to stop anybody from talking, bringing out truth. They didn't have to do that years ago. But now they're going hard, man, with the algorithm.
Yep. They're going hard with it.
So, coming out.
So basically, this is going to be up once this video is finally up on YouTube and I can download it. I'm going to put it up on Odyssey, and what I'll do is put in the description box on YouTube where the link is at. And then when we do the second broadcast of this video, like the part 2, we'll put in the chat over here in the live chat, we'll put the Odyssey link in there where you can go and see the other video, where you can go to the Odyssey account so you can watch it as many times as you want, because of, we leave it up here, what's going to happen. Okay. So with that, we hope that you brothers and a few of you sisters that was there was edified. We hope that you learned something, and like to say, give all honor, praise, and glory to Yahawah,
BaHaSHam, YAHAWASHI, BaHaSHam, and QADASH.
And want to say shalom.
Shalom. To the next time.
Come.
Shalom, brothers.
Shalom.